Aloha. This video, I kind of just want to expand upon what I'm really talking about on this channel and how I observe what it all boils down to. Like what are my perspectives on what supposedly it boils down to. Excuse me. I constantly reference the perspectives of there's individuals who have their soul experience. There's something that you have to learn every day. There's something that you have to learn in every experience. There's something that you have to learn based upon your family, your culture, your upbringing, your whatever it is. That's between you, how I see it, that's between you and the Most High. And it really has nothing to do with the experience itself. It predates your birth in a sense that not in a like a deterministic sort of perspective, but just a energetic sort of thing. So I don't know how to really explain it, and it's not that basic, but that's how I observe my life and how I feel like it's going on with everybody else. Same thing goes for like the collective. This is not to say that everything is on purpose and so on and so forth. I don't think it's that simple. I think that there's parts of our experience that are not necessarily predetermined, but they are based upon experiences, based upon some kind of timing, and based upon our own growth cycles, based upon our so-called free will. So this idea of our choices that we make. So we make these choices to be a piece of shit. We make these choices to take advantage of people for the benefit of yourself. You make these choices to feel empathy. You make a choice to feel compassion. You make a choice to open up to something bigger than yourself. You make these choices or you don't. And what's happening with society is that they have constantly made the choice to only follow the path or the timeline that benefits the few at the expense of the many, including nature. And this is what this entire so-called Western civilization is based on, including the intention of your mainstream religions, including the intention of colonialism, including the intention of the so-called American dream, making you believe that you're successful, making you believe that you are moving, progressing, innovating. That's why they use that word, innovation, all the time. And talk about people who come from a different perspective and basically say you're against innovation, or no different than you're a primitive and a savage. That's the 21st century's version and 20th century's version of Christopher Columbus calling the native peoples primitives and savage, who can be easily overrun and overtaken. That is the same story that is existing today. Excuse me. The people who aren't raised, who aren't going to go to the depths of sickness and disease at the expense of others for their own benefit. These are the ones who are having their lands stolen, who are being taxed to death, who are having their homes ripped from underneath their feet with gentrification, who won't play the game, who don't give one fuck about fame and fortune and recognition in that destructive mainstream world. This is where I have a problem with so-called flat earthers who constantly push the agenda that flat earth is only about flat earth, first of all, and flat earth is only about going mainstream. See, I've said this in the last live stream that I had. What that really boils down to is that in the long run, in the end, as time progresses, you will see more obviously who and what people are, what they're about, what they're for, what they're against. The reason why, or one of the main reasons why I am expressing my perspective on particular individuals and a particular atmosphere of those individuals, what they personify, is because I have already come to the conclusion for myself what these individuals are about. And what they are about is more about the system of destruction, the system that is protecting itself with celebrityism, with Hollywood, with the Western society, with all of these bells and whistles of this Columbian era. They are more about that. And they are definitely not about losing those privileges in that world. Not only from the whole like white privilege sort of thing. No, I'm talking about the Western society privilege. The privilege that you have to call yourself a first world country when you know that you are only a first world country at the expense of every other country that we so-called label a third world country. You cannot get away from these truths. Once you write these truths down and put them on the board, you cannot look the other way. The only way people claim they look the other way is by huddling themselves in a little box, in their little comfort box, whether it's a little Christian comfort blanket box or a little mainstream TYT comfort box, or a little Alex Jones will save the day comfort box, or a little Bernie Sanders will save the day comfort box, or maybe a little flat earth will come and save the day flat earth box, comfort box. Whatever it is, you are in a box because you are not looking at the system as a whole. You've decided to play the game within the system, in reaction to the system, in response to whatever it is the system does to you. You haven't empowered yourself outside of the system to realize that it's your responsibility to uproot this entire system if you're really about something like reconnecting with nature. If you're about activating, reactivating the humanity in humanity. Because this system is based upon inhumanity. Humanity of today, modern humanity, has no fucking idea what human nature is. That definition has been prepackaged by the monkey mind university system people in a particular way who at their essence believe humanity has no soul. There is no soul. You're just a physical body with chemical neurons firing off here and there, making you want to have sex and reproduce, making you fearful, making you protective, making you basic animal needs. This society is based upon humanity from an animalistic perspective. They sell you an animalistic society, and they put themselves on the pedestal, the throne of humanity. by claiming to be of a particular bloodline, of a particular intellect, of a particular perspective of this world that is higher than your primitive and savage ass. And as long as you continue to play their game, as long as you continue to subject yourself to their mind control games, you will remain in their world. So when it comes down to who's a shill and who's not and all this other stuff, like I said, you'll find out soon enough. These assholes will start presenting themselves because they have no other way of being. They don't know how else to be. You can't fake being real. You can't fake truth. You can't fake that shit. You can only hold the line, that synthetic line. You can only copycat other people's shit for so long. But once you get on that stage, once that light is shown on you, that's when the real you comes out. See, people are shining their own lights on themselves right now with these YouTube channels. They can control the light, they can control the intensity, they can control the information, they can control the timing, they can control the topics, they have full control, basically full control of what it is they can and cannot say right now. But as soon as this shit gets picked up by the mainstream and these assholes start getting questions asked about, you know, what they're really thinking about, where they're really coming, what is your message, what are your goals, you're going to see who the hell people really are. It might be all fine and dandy and comfortable and fun and all happy-go-lucky in this little so-called flat earth community. But take these little shits outside of this little comfort zone of this flat earth community. Have them start talking to those wolves out there. And see how quickly they jump on board that gravy train. You already know, just by me saying that shit, you already know who's gonna jump on that gravy train. They can't wait for that gravy train to come choo-chooing through the fucking flat earth station. Come on by, we're waiting. Here it is. We got it all ready for you. Here's the maps. Here's the proofs. Here's the clues. Here's the scientific observations. It's all ready, boss. We got it all ready for you. Set up and ready to go. All you have to do is get some fancy images, some TV shows, repackage it, ship it on out. Box those and ship those. You get those in, you box them, you ship them. So, after you box them, you ship them. Lots of luck, smart ass. Some people gonna know what I'm talking about it there. These assholes are gonna box and ship this shit up so quick so they can start sucking that gravy out of that mainstream baby bottle so damn quick. You won't even see their asses. They're gonna disappear. And be like, oh, thanks, community. Now fuck you. I done made it. It's been fun. I enjoyed the hangouts. But now I'm on the fries. Soon I'll be on the burger station. And that's where the big bucks come rolling in. Watch. This is why I go so hard on certain people, because they've already proven themselves to be prepping that whole environment for that gravy train. They are the conductors of that mainstream flat earth gravy train. They can't wait for that colonial flat earth, that Western society flat earth train to come choo-chooing on through. Choo-choo, choo-choo. Come on. We're doing everything we can. We're trying to get those Google stats up. Trying to get them YouTube numbers to beat all these celebrities out there. As soon as it does, they can't help but start looking at what we've done. Choo-choo. So in reference to this whole B.O.B. shit that's going down, like I said, it always boils down to the information, the power behind the information, the weight behind the reach that you have. We're here sitting here talking about flat earth with our subscriber base, with our platform, reaching so many people every day. You have other people. Yes, they are, like, specifically B.O.B. Nobody can walk in that dude's shoes. Nobody knows what he's been through. Nobody knows what his intentions are. You can only base it upon what he's already produced. If you want to know, and even then you won't know, you'll have an idea. The same thing goes for these flat earth channels. You don't know what their intentions are. You might think it's comfortable because you've spoken to them on a few live chats. You can probably even call them up on a telephone. You probably even met a few of them. Does that mean you know them? Do you know their intentions? It's probably people now that you know, you've been known for 10, 20 years. You know they're full of shit. They present themselves as such, as some kind of something, but you know that they're full of shit. You think because you met a few people, talked to a few people, agree on a few topics about a few things, you think you know them? You don't know them from Dookie on a stick. You won't know their real intentions until the shit hits the fan. Until enough time progresses. That's what I'm saying is so dangerous, to just jump on board with this happy-go-lucky idea of flat earth community and flat earthers, and we need to stick together and we need to unite. Unite around what? Before you try to unite people, what the fuck are you uniting around? Is it flat earth? Is that it? That simple ass shit. Is that what you want to unite people around? Because that's easily co-opted. It's already co-opted. It's already dead. Because there's some flat earthers who think this way and other flat earthers think that way. As far as intentions, some people are flat earth glitters, like they want to just spread flat earth glitter everywhere. Then you have other people who just want to kind of like clean the surface of flat earth. This just needs a little cleaning. We just need to wipe that heliocentric scum off the countertop. Just, clean it up, get some green pads, get some little soap, scrub it off. Might take a little elbow grease, scrub it off of there. It's good as new. Mainstream, as long as you scrub that heliocentric stuff off of there, just, get in it. It's gonna hurt. You might get a little tennis elbow from scrubbing that old scum off of that countertop, that heliocentric scum. But as soon as it gets cleaned up, it's gonna be good. Then you have people who want to burn this fucking thing down because they know that this system was built on the blood and the bones. It's not about scrubbing that heliocentric scum off of the countertop of this haunted house we call Western civilization. No, this haunted house was built on burial grounds, not only in Native America, but across the world. The intellectual throne of the university system that is sitting on top of the heliocentric program is the atmosphere that keeps people in this mind control cloud. And a lot of people can't let that go because their fancy ass cars, their fancy ass gadgets, and their fancy ass house will be threatened. They don't want to have to lose their little privileges and their little comforts, their little comfort boxes, just so other people can have the opportunity to have something. They don't want to have to threaten that. They just want to clean up the countertop. And then sure as hell, the people who just spreading flat earth glitter around, thinking that, oh, this is just going to fairy dust the shit out of humanity and just be everything is just okay. Just sprinkle some flat earth fairy dust on it. Ah, I feel so much better. My chakras are clear. I've done it. Or some Christian flat earth fairy dust. See, flat earth was always written about in the Bible. So as long as you look, it's really this simple. Flat earth plus the Bible equals enlightenment. It's that simple. You did it. So as long as we take the wonder, the connection to God from the Bible and add it with the understandings of flat earth, then that will heal and that will fix humanity. Good luck with that shit. Keep telling yourself that little fucking fairy tale. Same thing about, that ain't no different than somebody talking about Bernie Sanders. No different than somebody talking about flat earth saving the day. No different than somebody talking about the new age, the aliens coming down and saving the day. Whatever your superhero is will be your own downfall. Ultimately, whatever you're comfortable in, just like the body, people are comfortable in the body. If you can't let that go, you ain't gonna have a choice when it's time to go. You can't hold on to the body. What the fuck makes you think you can hold on to shit within the body experience? Including your Bible, including your little happy-go-lucky comfort treats in your Western society apartment or condo or American dream household. You can't hold on to this shit. You never had it. And it's people that are struggling to even have 0.1% of what you have. And they can't even get 0.1% of what you have because of the design of the system. And if you, as a person who is privileged in that system that's built on the blood and the bones of the other people that you just call the other people, the primitives and savages, who just somehow can't get it together. These third world countries, I don't know what's wrong with them. Look at Donald Trump's little stupid ass going down to Puerto Rico shooting fucking jump shots of paper towels to people who ain't gonna have power for the next however many months, who had their entire lives flooded out. Now sprinkle in the knowledge of geoengineering And his stupid ass being up there as the leader of the so-called leader of the free world, the so-called free world. You're watching a movie, a bad movie at that. People still think it's real. Look at all these horror movies. You see how fake that shit is? If it wasn't filled with so many certain particular types of actors, those movies would be completely different. Look at the movie Get Out. Look at how the production was completely different. Look at how it made you feel when you see the script not go how it normally goes. See, that normally goes mentality is the mind control. That's just an example of how all of the other storylines, including politics, including the university system mind control programs, all of those other stories, those normally goes stories, are the mind control. That's the comfort that throws people off. They can't get around it. They can't let it go. It's too comfortable. You've had Happy Days, Saved by the Bell, Mama's Family, Married with Children, Modern Family. All these shows, you think they're for your entertainment? This is for your mind control. You sitting there watching, oh, they're so clever. They're so funny. Same thing goes for these late night talk show comedians. You think they're there for your entertainment? To inform you about politics? No. They're there to make you think, act, and feel a certain way about those politics. About your enslavement. To dumb you down. To desensitize your experience. To dehumanize you. But they're so clever. They're so funny. They're so on point. What they're talking about is real. How could they be? No, they're too good of people. Even if those individuals are completely unaware of what it is that they're doing, does it matter? No, because the system still exists with the intention of controlling you and locking you in to that system. So does it matter if Trevor Noah, Steve Colbert, John Oliver, and all those other assholes out there, does it matter if they really know? No. If you think it matters, then that's what you need to do to understand even further the depths of this system. Excuse me. That's your responsibility. Same thing could be said for the individual like B.O.B. The only reason why B.O.B. is a threat to the flat earth community, because people are holding on to the flat earth community as if it's a fucking savior of the world. As if you know these people. As if you know their true intentions. When you don't know them from shit. And you won't know them until enough time has passed to see where they're really coming from. So until that time has passed, it's best to analyze the weight that's being pushed, the work that's being done, the information that's being shared. That's why I went off so much on FEA with Stevie Wonder stuff. Stevie Wonder done pushed so much weight, it might not be dressed in a flat earth costume. But you don't have to push flat earth costume weight in order to push human weight. Stevie been pushing human weight since he was little Stevie. Even still, in that system, for one moment, step outside of your whatever kind of bubble and just look at the weight, look at the energy for what it is. If you are limiting yourself to a little crew, a little community or something, then an individual like that can infiltrate that community, that crew, and can throw everything off. But if you empower yourself from the inside out and you are surrounded by people who empower themselves from the inside out, you ain't got nothing to fucking fear. There's nothing to be afraid of. You won't even have a fear of being separated from this fucking body. If you limit yourself to the clubhouse of flat earth, the Mickey Mouse fucking flat earth clubhouse, and then you got big bad mainstream B.O.B. step on the scene and start talking about flat earth, then yeah, you're going to feel threatened because his club is bigger than your club. He got more people out there. They might not know shit about the fucking flat earth or anything else, but there's more of them. That's a threat. And in order to make your club feel cool and big and bad, you got to pump up your weight or attack other people. But fuck these clubs. Stop worrying about clicking up because you're uncomfortable being alone. That's what's wrong. That's what led up to all this fucking shit that's going on in Western society right now. People who weren't part of the cool crowd, the colonialists, the Western society civilization, they just integrated because they wanted to be cool. Well, I got some fucking news for you. While you're being cool, the people who are cooler than you in that cool crowd are getting cool at the expense of everybody else who won't trade their connections with each other and nature in for anything. Nothing to be cool in your little fucking crew and community and all that other bullshit. Flat Earth can easily be co-opted. It already is. So if you focus on the perspective of humanity breaking this entire system, not holding on to some little like, oh, we need to hold on to this and make sure that, you know, it doesn't get taken by mainstream people like B.O.B. What are you holding on to? What do you really think you're doing? And what are you not looking at? See, we come down on B.O.B. because he's definitely a part of the mainstream. He made his weight in the mainstream. Now he's talking about flat earth. How is that individual any different from the people who haven't made their weight yet? They only have they pushing little 5-pound weights in YouTube channelville. On flat earth. The only thing that confirms their intent is that they have spoken in reference to flat earth. That's the only thing that confirms them. That's it. If you think that's the only thing that you need as confirmation as to who and what that individual is on the inside, then that's the most gullible shit I ever heard of. All you got to do is just claim to be a part of flat earth and then you're part of the crew. Get the fuck out of here. If that's it, then shit. You damn right I don't want to be a part of no fucking community like that. It's too damn simple. And you're missing the whole point. The foundations of this system. Because once it gets watered down, once it gets turned into flat earth fairy dust, which it already has been, which is my damn point. Flat earth fairy dust is the mainstream mentality on YouTube. That's it. Whether you sprinkle in some different colored flat earth fairy dust with like religious perspectives, it's just not flat earth, it's Christian flat earth. Or you sprinkle it in with new age or whatever it is. If you are not stepping out of that fairy tale and realizing that flat earth is about power and control. It's not about flat versus globe. I'll say it again. It's about power and control, mind control. And clicking up is only because you haven't broken those chains of external power and control over you, to realize that this is about humanity. This is about nature. A lot of these flat earth only people are hiding behind their comfort, their shield of flat earth, because they don't want to be revealed for what they can't let go of. They can't let go of Western society. They can't let go. See, this is a proof of this. Only one person has actually said this. When I commented, this was a while back, this was a proof, and this is a reason why none of these flat earth fairy tale or fairy dusters, this is a reason why they don't actually say anything about what they're about. They don't speak about their intentions, what they will and won't talk about. When I was talking to Jesse Spots on his channel about his interaction with Alex Jones and relating that Alex Jones interactions to TYT, and how it's still just kind of basic. It's not really going to the depths of this system in reference to Western society, genocide and massacres and colonialism, the power and control net that includes flat earth. When I took Jesse Spots to that outlook, his response to me was, I'm not about taking down Western society. These are his words. You can check the videos back in the day. It wasn't that back in the day, like that long ago. It was like a few months ago. He actually voiced those words. The thing is, he was actually man enough to voice his intentions. He's voicing where he's at. What do you think these flat earth fairy dusters are thinking in reference to that same question, that same outlook? Do you really think that they are about that? Are they about that life? Are they about losing that comfort blanket? That's my whole point. When I reference these topics and this information, it's not to have an expectation that they should talk about this. They should be speaking about this. That's people's main defense mechanism against me, because my style seems that way. Like it seems aggressive, like, oh, they should be talking about this. No, this is about the awareness to their viewers about where they're coming from. I could care fucking less about what it is that they're talking about. For the most part, I already know where they're coming from. Look at their little fucking live hangouts. The little fairy duster hangouts. They're just pouring fairy dust on everybody. Ooh, look at this. I got this fairy dust perspective. They're just doing like the what is it? The ice bucket challenge with flat earth fairy dust on everybody. Oh, this is so fun. Get the fuck out of here with that stupid shit. I pretty much know where they're coming from, because I know where they're not coming from. And their actions over time have proven what it is that they're about and what they're not about. They're not about that life outside of Western society. They're not about that life. They're not going to go that far because they've never experienced that reality. They hadn't walked in our shoes. They don't know what the fuck gentrification is. At the essence, from their family, from their blood, they don't know what the fuck that is. They might have read an article about it. They might be able to scoop up some sympathy about what it is that we've experienced generation upon generation, the burial grounds of this land, they might scoop up some sympathy for that, but they can't empathize with it. And that's my whole point. If you can't empathize with where we're coming from, then you won't understand what needs to be done in reference to what we're talking about and where we're coming from. You will only be able to empathize with what you have experienced. And people who are benefiting from this experience won't realize the depths we need to go in order to help the other people who have been living at the expense that they have been taken advantage of for generations upon generations. It's a very general interpretation of what's going on. It's not to put out the atmosphere of not everybody is subjected to this slave program right now. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that there are very definite subjects outside of the colonial historical timeline that involve conquering lands, genociding people, massacring people. And that timeline is being washed away with your public education system in order to create the atmosphere of people who cannot at all relate to those experiences, those people, because they need to set the foundation for this new world, for the innovative society, for this move on culture. How is that move on culture any different when somebody says, oh, you're still talking about slavery, the Native Americans? Oh, you should just move on. We're in the 21st century now, okay? We have smartphones. You have a smartphone. Aren't you happy to have a smartphone, a house? You're not happy about that? That's the atmosphere that's being promoted. And they can't let that go. Those are the individuals that can never empathize with what we're talking about because they haven't experienced it through the generations. Not only that, not even in the sense that you have to have had experienced it through generations. That's just the roots of this experience for some people. What's happening right now is that if you haven't experienced that, you don't really need to. You just need to be mind controlled so deeply into this Western society that you actually defend it and you don't really give a shit about what happened prior to now. That's where this fine line between humanity and inhumanity comes into play. And that's what people in the so-called flat earth community are floating around when they see gushing wounds in the human experience and think sprinkling fairy dust in those gushing wounds is going to do something about that. You are severely mistaken. That is the way of the Western society. That's the way of that world. That's where the money is. That's what money is. The fiat currency system is. Oh, I'm sorry. We burned down your entire Amazon rainforest. We destroyed an entire race of individuals who were never contacted by outside so-called civilization. We killed them because we wanted to log their rainforest. Here's a check for $2 million so you can rebuild. You don't want our money? You're ungrateful. How ungrateful of you. You know what? We're going to take the rest of your land because you're just some ungrateful, primitive, and savage people. You don't even deserve to live. That's the ongoing storyline that has never stopped. It kicked into professional gear when Christopher Columbus came and called this the New World. It's been happening before then, and it's been happening ever since. And that's a storyline that's not being recognized right now, because even people in the flat earth community, even people who call themselves woke and conscious and all that other bullshit, even they can't even let that shit go. They can't let go of their microwave. They sure as hell ain't gonna let go of that Mercedes. Think they're gonna let go of that condo? Yeah, you better send some more drones out there to go spread some fucking freedom. Protect my motherfucking condo, bitch. I don't give a shit about that. I got a Benz in the garage. Yeah, I'm about flat earth, but I'm about that life. First and foremost, when it comes down to it, fuck flat earth. That's these mentalities. They might not say it that way. That's their mentality though. What's first? Humanity or your comfort, creature comforts? In flat earth creature comforts or humanity? That's basically asking inhumanity or humanity. If this system can easily dress the same genocide, massacre, enslavement, and control, instead of a heliocentric dress, they can dress it in a flat earth dress, then you can understand that this has nothing to do with flat earth and has everything to do with power and control over your soul, your mind, and your body. So if you limit yourself to the little fairy dust creature comforts of the flat earth community, you are limiting yourself to one piece on the board of power and control, the chess game. And you're not really doing anything, hoping to win the chess game, because you have one of the biggest pieces on the board. One of the most powerful pieces on the board is flat earth. It can move all over the board. You can destroy all of their castles, all of their knights, all of their rooks, everything. All that shit. Whatever all those pieces on, you can destroy everything. You can save the day. You can even put their king in check. But is flat earth ever going to be able to checkmate that game? No. Because soon as you get close to putting them in checkmate, what's going to happen? They will jump on your side of the board and start playing the game that you think you're playing. They will say, no, little shit. We own this board. We own this system. We say who gets checked and what checkmate is. So sit your little simple ass down with your little flat earth community and watch how the big dogs sell flat earth. Now what happens to your pieces on the board? They don't exist anymore. Because your simple ass was playing a game with people who don't play games. You already know this. War, false flags, genocide, massacre, they ain't playing games. By any means necessary. That's not a game. That's life and death. That's control over humanity. You celebrating, throwing a party, sprinkling fairy dust, you playing a fucking game. At best, you're playing checkers. Flat versus globe, that's checkers. You still haven't even gone into the chess game. One move at a time, As long as flat earth goes mainstream, that's one move at a time. You are playing checkers. Now, if you want to get in the big dog ring and start talking about, oh yeah, we need to figure out whether or not B.O.B. is real or not. He's in the mainstream. Now you're starting to get into the chess game. Because now you have some of their pieces on the board, potentially. Obviously, I mean, playing both sides really right now, but you, like I said, you really won't know until the shit hits the fan and it boils down to it. And then anytime the individuals who playing both sides, they can flip. So you never know. But what's happening is the weight's being pushed. That energy is being shared. And even people on that shitty side of the board are being awakened to the information that they never even thought was credible to even look into. It's people in flat earth right now that are only in flat earth because people like B.O.B. woke them up, in a sense. I don't like using that term, but you know what I mean. Something as simple as a song, a rap, a lyric, calling out Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yeah, it might be all a game. But how many people did it open the door for people to step into? People in this so-called community, in these little circles. Regardless of their connections in that whole system, how many people have said, you know what, I need to look into this? Even then, knowing that dude might be full of shit, but I'm at least going to look into it. That's the point. That's what really matters. If you want to get caught up in the politics of it all, that's your choice. And then you got to ask yourself, why do you give a shit so much about it? What are you really holding on to? What are you afraid of losing? It's not about the individual. This is about the energy, the information, the system itself. And like I said, and I'll end it on this, knowing that chess game, you can never checkmate them in their own game when they can play both sides. You will never be able to checkmate them. It doesn't matter how big you think your pieces on the board are. You can even break the rules of their chess game because they break it all the time. They break those rules all the time. You can even break the rules of their chess game in order to try to get them in check. But you will never be able to checkmate them because you are not addressing the board itself. You are not challenging yourself to remove the system itself. They make the rules that are meant to be broken to hold other people in check by those rules that they don't even abide by. They don't even follow their own rules. So what are the rules for? Their rules of their Western society are for control over you and your little simple ass moves that you think you're making. If they break their own rules, what the fuck do you think the game is really about? So if you are not talking about burning this entire fucking board to the ground, exposing the system for what it is, then you are playing checkers, chess at best. And even still, what's going to happen? Nothing. You're going to run yourself into a wall playing a game thinking that you're winning. They can get down to one piece on the board. They can have their one king against all of your pawns and the rest of your pieces on the board. And they will whoop your ass. Why? Because they own the board. They own the rules, and they can break all of them. They can pick up that little king and just bum rush all of your pieces off the board and say, I win. And what are you going to do? Nothing. Sit there crying, talking about, oh, I was the one. We had them. We had them in a corner. And then they just broke those rules. They took our flat earth. They took our flat earth. And they just packaged it. I'm so surprised. I can't believe it. Even my friends, the ones I trusted in the flat earth community, they done went and joined the other side. Yeah. Exactly. What the fuck we've been saying since the first place? Because you didn't understand that the only person that can change somebody is themselves. And it doesn't matter what they are talking about, what they say they're about, or what crew they're a part of, what community they're a part of. None of that shit matters. It doesn't matter. People will always be who they are. They will always see from their own eyes. And they will always only make decisions based upon what they have experienced, what they can empathize with. See, sympathy is through the eyes. Sympathy is through the external experience. Empathy is through the internal experience. And in order to make a real change in this human story, you have to be at least understanding where people are coming from when they empathize with this experience. People who only sympathize with this experience, they won't be able to understand how far things need to go in order to change. They can only read the headlines of it. And a lot of it is because they're trying to protect their investment. And that doesn't mean they're bad people. That's not what I'm saying. See, a lot of people who get, they want to put that victim suit on and say, oh, he's such an asshole. He's just because nobody's talking about what he's talking about. They're just bad people. No, fuck that. Quit being so damn simple. I'm not saying you're a bad person just because you can't empathize with somebody else's experience. I respect and honor your sympathy. But is sympathy going to do anything for this system? No. Because it's something external for you. It's not affecting you. In fact, you want to protect yourself so you don't have to experience what they went through. Subconsciously, at least. If consciously you're doing that, then yes, you're a piece of shit. So fuck you. But subconsciously, very definitely that is happening on the whole for people who only sympathize with things. They think it's a game. Oh yeah, things just need to change. We just need to clean the countertop. That's what sympathy is. Empathy is the people that are just like, no, fuck this. I don't give a fuck if I have to lose everything. This shit needs to be burnt down. Fuck this program. Fuck this system. You know why? Because other people don't have a smidge of what we have. They haven't had it. They're already dying. So what makes you any different from the people who are already dying right now? Now. Constantly at the expense of your fucking Mercedes. Of your fairy tale, fairy dust community. When will that ever be acknowledged? So people who bring up this perspective, you're an asshole. You're a bad guy. You're divisive. You're trying to divide the community. Get the fuck out of my face with this stupid nonsense. Only a A very small amount of people are going to be able to empathize with what we're talking about, where we're coming from. Because most people who have gone through that shit, they've been drugged through the fucking mud their entire life. Generations before them, they've been through it. They didn't lost family members. They didn't put their entire fucking life on the line. They already signed that fucking contract to be in the army or the Navy or wherever the fuck it is that you've joined in. We've already been to the end of our own life in many ways. That's what a contract is. When you join the army, me at 17 going in, you're not yourself anymore. You're a number, an expendable entity. You're just a number for them to say, you go here, you do this. They could literally, these are some jobs, some MOSs is this. Walk out into that field and go find that mine. Go find that IED. Boom. Somebody's son, somebody's daughter, dead. Next, somebody go out there, find the other one. Boom, dead. Oh, let's just wrap them up in a flag, send them home. Thanks for your service. Next, boom. For what? To protect these illusions? To protect the genocidal and the criminal storyline? See, that's what's happening right now. That's what's happening while people are, sprinkling fairy dust everywhere. They can't empathize with that shit. I wasn't deployed, so I can't even completely empathize with that. I spent 7 years in, though. I've known what it's like when 9/11 hit to be like, fuck, I guess we're going to fucking Afghanistan. But my job kept me here. So, but I know what it's like to lose people. You lose people on the streets. How's that different than losing somebody in the desert? Then you got people who get out of the military and they fucking kill themselves because you can't really get out of the military in your mind. I still have dreams of that shit. I wasn't even deployed. I still have dreams of that shit. I have people really close to me fucking kill themselves. The suicide rate for the military is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. People being killed on the street, it's ridiculous. If you take the information that is flat earth, the potential to expose the depths of these mind control programs that lead up to those deaths, those suicides, those IEDs, those numbers that just get cast to the side like, oh, well, fuck it. They signed a contract. Stupid ass shouldn't have signed a fucking contract if you didn't want to get blown up by an IED. Next. Keep thinking they don't think like that. I know what they think about these soldiers. I was one of them. They don't give a fuck about you. You can be the most high speed soldier out there. Look at the Tillman case. Pat Tillman. You want to see some fucked up shit? Look at that story. You think that's not all going throughout the entire system? This shit is rotten. It's a mafia. They call it freedom. And you have these people who can't empathize with that, with what's going on to the people, the victims of that world. Because the mainstream media shoots highballs or 8 balls of sympathy into your veins. Highballs and 8 balls shit. On a daily basis, drinking highballs and shooting 8 balls of sympathy into your system. The mainstream media constantly. That's what this Las Vegas shit was about. So you can sympathize with what needs to be done. Something. We have to do something. Who's we? And what is this do something that you say we should do? Well, they're telling you already. You don't have to look too far. They're telling you already. That's sympathy at best. But will you be able to empathize with the victims of this entire empire? The system itself. Only then, the only way you'll be able to do that is when it affects you, when it shows up on your doorstep. When it shows up on your fucking doorstep. These people don't know what the fuck needs to change. These people spreading fairy dust all over. They don't know what the fuck is going on. They don't care. Look at their faces. Look at their actions. Look at what they're telling you everything is about. I'm not saying you gotta be sad all the time. I'm not saying you gotta be angry all the time. But at least challenge yourself to be aware of what people are talking about and where people are coming from. You might not be able to empathize with everybody. Of course, that's impossible. But at least allow people who have experienced something that you haven't, at least allow them to speak their passion, their perspective, and the depths of where they're coming from. Even if it challenges your comfort zone. Even if, and especially if it challenges your comfort zone. Because when it challenges your comfort zone, when it hits close to home for you, that is a challenge to you, an opportunity for you to go deeper into understanding, understanding, and overstanding what that individual is really talking about. What that individual is, where they're coming from. So you don't have to have experienced their experience to understand where they're coming from. You can take where they're what they're talking about and where they're coming from and see it from a collective experience. How has his or her experience been experienced by other people? How has that affecting the individual, this person who's sharing with you their experience? And how has that affected masses of other people? And what is the alchemy behind that? What's the story behind that? That's when you can start seeing where people are coming from. And that's ultimately where a lot of people will basically just start shutting their fucking mouth. Because before they just think they knew it. I got it. This is it. It's it. For example, flat earth is just it. But if somebody else says something that's not completely about flat earth, and you've set yourself up like that, what are you going to do? You're going to protect your investment, aren't you? You're going to say, that person is just filled with anger. He's so divisive. He must be trying to divide the community. Your fucking illusions. Pack your shit. Get the fuck out. Oh, man. I'm trying to explain it in so many different ways. That Las Vegas video yesterday was just... how many times? People, if people are listening to Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel and Seth Meyers and all those people get on there talking about, we're so sad right now, this is happening again, well, next on the set is Tom Hanks, Sandra Bullock. So what's going on in your life? We got to keep the people entertained. We got to keep the people distracted until the next social mind control program is activated. If you're falling for that alchemy, there's nothing else that you could do. You're allowing yourself to do that. And the only person responsible for breaking that is you. So if you want to fight people because they don't think the same way as you do, they don't feel the same way as you do in reference to your feelings and your emotions of, how important gun control is. What do you mean? Jimmy Kimmel? Those are real tears. We need to do something about these guns. What's the matter with you? Don't you want to stop this gun violence? Shit. Don't you want to stop these mass shootings? Just believing that storyline, playing that checker game, playing that chess game, as if it's real. You keep playing that shit while other people are actually experiencing the loss of loved ones. That's the sympathy game that's being played. For you to make you think that you know what's going on. To make you think that things are supposed to change the way they tell you to change them. Meanwhile, nothing on the board really changes, and the board never really changes on top of that. But you think it is. Why? Because they tell you how to think. And what's continually going on? The so-called primitives and savages and the people who don't play this little stupid ass illusory game are the ones who are losing families and loved ones, brothers and sisters, soldiers. You can't fucking empathize with that shit. You don't know what that world is. And if you're celebrating some little checker game that's going on, and you want, on top of that, you want to come down on other people who are talking about something deeper than that shit, fuck you. Fuck you and any other piece of shit idea that you think is going to save the fucking world. Whether it's the New Age community, the Alex Jones community, the Flat Earth community, the Bernie Sanders community, the Democratic community, the Black conscious community, whatever community that you think is the superhero of this experience is just another illusion. because it's just another piece on the board. You know damn well what's going on in the so-called black conscious community. The same thing that's happening in Democrats and Republicans, in TYT versus Alex Jones, in Flat versus Globe, and the same thing that's happening in the black conscious community, it's the same thing that's happening everywhere. You're picking a side, you're picking a team, you're picking some kind of strategy to beat this system as a piece on the board of the system. But you're not really going to the depths of the system itself. Flat Earth thinks is on a very basic level. Once it goes mainstream, everything's going to be okay. Wrong answer. You already know that. But why is that the accepted mentality of these so-called leaders? Why aren't they taking so much slack for that simple ass bullshit? Meanwhile, somebody who's talking about humanity, nature, takes flack every single fucking day about expanding the storyline. No, how dare you want to expand the storyline into the perspective of the human story? No way. This is about flat earth. You're trying to divide the community. I know what you're about. You're about division. You're trying to divide the community because you don't love Mark and Patricia. How could you not love them? They're so wonderful. So that's my point in a nutshell. Isn't it the slightest bit suspicious that somebody talking about the human story, humanity, gets labeled and called divisive and against the flat earth community because they're talking about the how and the why of flat earth? Still talking about flat earth, still making content, consistently making content every day in reference to flat earth, but just doesn't come from the little fairy tale fucking perspective that they come from. They take flack, I take flack for expanding the storyline into the foundations of power and control, the foundations of what heliocentrism really means in reference to how and why that mind control program exists. You're getting pushback for that, while people who are talking about fairyland and fairy dust flat earth are being defended because why? Don't ask me. Ask the people in and around that circle. Because even you don't have to know too much. You don't even have to empathize with where I'm coming from. You don't even have to really sympathize with it, because a lot of this is just basic information. People know something like flat earth on its own is not going to save the day. In fact, if you're looking for something like that, you're no different than waiting for, Jesus to fall out the sky and save the day. Oh, he's coming. He's coming. Oh, fuck, when? He's coming. You're waiting for a savior. Those people promoting the fairy tale version of flat earth are waiting on the savior of flat earth to go mainstream. I don't need to make it any more simpler than that. And when somebody else says, hey, why are you waiting for another savior? Why aren't you looking at the other parts of this storyline? that actually go deeper than that go deeper than your flat earth Bible, that go deeper than your religion. Why aren't we looking at that? Oh, you're divisive. You're not a part of this. You must be a shill. Whatever words you guys come up with, it's just ridiculous. It's funny. It's fucking funny. That's what it is. In the long run, shit ain't really funny. Because when the shit hits the fan, those people making those little accusations and all that bullshit, they're gonna be just like everybody else. Losing their shit, not knowing what the fuck to do. Because their little savior program and their little comfort blankets of fairy tales and fairyland just fucking hit the fan. Where did it go? Where did Flat Earth go? It got watered down into the mainstream because your stupid ass fairy tale leaders packaged it for them. And they want to act like, dude, watch this shit. They're gonna act like, oh, I had no idea that was gonna happen. After they done already cashed in on that shit. I had no idea they were just gonna take Flat Earth and repackage it in a Neil deGrasse Tyson suit and vest. I had no idea they were gonna do that. Please don't attack me. I'm just an innocent victim in this storyline. I was just trying to spread the flat earth truth. I'm so tired. I've been doing so many interviews. Watch when that shit comes down the line. Can't believe this happened. Really? Was there anybody really telling you this was gonna happen? I remember there was that one channel. It was always talking about, something like this happening. What happened? What happened to that channel? Where'd that guy go?